and call the meeting to order. We are going to amend the agenda. And add item number 10 and discuss in-service workday. So I would entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
A motion by Allison and a second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. And next item is approval of the minutes from the 9/9/24 meeting. Any questions, comments, changes? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Allison.
Second.
Second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. And then approval of the treasurer's report. Those are for your review. Any questions? Entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Also moved.
Motion by Josh.
Second.
Second by Allison. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Approval of the invoices. Are there any that you would like to call out or?
No, everything on there is pretty standard, comparable to what we've had in the past.
There's 2 payments to Graduation Online, so that's why it's kind of higher this month. Just how it fell, and this meeting is so late in October, so we hit it twice. So.
Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the invoices in the amount presented.
So moved.
Motion by Allison,
Second.
second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. And the documents are attached for the reconciliation and cash balances report.
Everything is in check and balances.
Any questions over any of that? Number 7 is recognition of visitors.
Nope, just guessed. We're good.
Okay. So then item number 8 is our administrative reports.
Our activity account matches our bank statement. Our book fair made $5,173, so we'll purchase about $2,500 worth of books using our Scholastic dollars. Fire Prevention Week, pre-K 4 and 2nd went to the Hollywood Fire Department, kindergarten 1st to the Bushton Fire Department, and 3rd and 4th came in here to the Claflin Fire Department. We'll continue with the Launch Learning Program, where the Cosmosphere will come out and do various STEM programs for our kids. We'll also have a STEAM night on November 18th. We had one last year in October. And they'll have various programs, Dr. Goddard's lab, Loxic, which is making ice cream, glove relay, UV beads, blind driver, and solar system bracelets. It's all hands-on activities that the kids can rotate around and do various things. Our reading goal, our kids achieved the reading goal for the first 9 weeks, and they voted to have a spirit week, so that will happen next week. October 9th, our 4th grade went to the Ellsworth County Ag Day, and then 2nd grade on that same day went to the Great Bend Wetlands Day that they have there. On October 10th, Mrs. Robinson brought in Karen, the comfort dog. I don't know if you've ever heard of Karen, but she's with an Ellsworth couple, I believe it is. She's a friend who brings a calming influence. I mean, that dog was something else. Beautiful, and the kids just fell in love with her. But we're going to schedule her to come back maybe like every other Wednesday, be in some of the classrooms, let the kids read to her and everything if they want to. So that was a neat experience. October 11th, our kindergarten and 1st graders went to the pumpkin patch in Assyria. The 15th, the ag class will come out and present agricultural lessons to our 3rd and 6th grade students and those who want the flu shot. That's tomorrow if they want it. The 17th, kindergarten will come into the Claflin Community Center and then to the Hollywood Legion to put on a program there. Already this Friday is the end of the first 9 weeks. We have our in-service and a half-day work day. We'll continue to work on the math and social emotional curriculum. And then the rest of the staff will continue working on mapping out their curriculums. The 21st, I'll have my first site council meeting. On the 23rd, I'll take out those kids who've earned 100 points in reading. I think right now I'm up to 5. October 25th, 3rd and 4th grade is going to have Cosmosphere come and do a weather and climate program. We have parent-teacher conferences on the 28th, dental screens on the 30th. I don't know why October is always crazy busy for us. October is always. November 1st, 3rd and 4th grade is going to have the Cosmosphere come back out for Living in Space. We'll have our fall parties. And then on November 4th, 5th grade, this will be their last trip to Salina and Starbase. And then our district level KISA team will travel to Hayes for our school improvement day.
What was their reading goal? You said they reached it, but what was it?
3,800 points, and they must maintain an 85% comprehension. They'll have close to 5,000 points when they're done. They read a lot. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. At Wilson, it's been a busy month, just like at Central Plains. On October 1st, we did our Wilson Elementary Character Awards presentation, and so we had students that received awards for good character. On October 8th, we had our preschool attended the P&M Pumpkin Patch, and they had a really great time. I received a phone call actually from someone from there, and they were very impressed at how well behaved our pre-Kers were, and so that was really good. We really had a good time. There was lots of talk. So on October 9th, our 4th grade had their ag day at the Delabo Farm. Lots of things to talk about with that. Also, I saw that when I was doing classroom walkthroughs that they were getting ready to put together a presentation over that. On October 16th, which is tomorrow, our Wednesday, our 3rd through 6th for World Reward Day for their AR program, I'm going to P&M Pumpkin Patch. On the 18th, there's no school in the end of 9 weeks. However, we would be doing what the rest of the district would be. However, we've had our death in our family, and so we will be having a funeral that day, and it will be in our gym at 1 o'clock for Grace Bowen. And so we will not have school that day or any professional development that day. On October 21st through the 25th, we'll have Red Ribbon Week. And so that will also be a spirit week for us. So there's all kinds of fun things planned for that week. On the 24th, our K through 2 will also be going to the P&M Pumpkin Patch. October 24th through November 1st is our book fair. On the 28th is our conferences. On the 30th, we'll have the Creed Theater coming. On the 31st, we'll have the Haunted Hallways, which is always fun. And then on November 2nd, we'll have our second of family relations with the pickleball tournament at 4 o'clock. That will include dinner by donation. We'll have Sloppy Joe's and some other things. If you want to come play pickleball, it's $10 for teams, $5 for singles. So if you're interested. Going back to September 17th and our parent information night, we were able to reach about 12 families, which was pretty good. Presentations were very beneficial with lots of information about autism services and chronic absenteeism. And the feedback was really favorable from participants. We actually have one family in our community that tapped into the OCCK program and has been able to receive services from them. So it was very beneficial, I think. Our character education, we're using the Caught Being Good system. And so that reward system is going strong. I have kids all the time asking me for Caught Being Good certificates. So lots of things there. Our character board, we left it responsibility because of this being Red Ribbon Week and some other things going on. Our after school update, we still have 19 students that are enrolled. However, that actually moved to 20 as of yesterday, full and part-time. Our reading groups, which we have a reading program, and there's averaging about 3 to 5 students per session. I actually saw today there were 6 of them in there, so that's pretty good. Math groups are averaging 2 per session. I actually have 4 today in my group. We did work with the KSU Research and Extension, and they'll begin this next in October. They'll be coming to offer activities for students to do during the after school program on different days. Our daycare has 0 openings. However, we do still have 12 that remain on the wait list, and we did receive the Patterson Group grant. So we'll be talking about that this week with Mr. Murphy about how those funds will be delegated and what that will look like for us going forward. My enrollment remains the same at 74. However, I do have 3 potential students moving in. They're moving into the Wilson community. They're building a house, but they're going to be moving in earlier. They would occupy a 3rd, a 5th, and a 6th grade position with us. So hopefully that'll come to fruition. And then, like I said, our pickleball tournament plans are in full swing. So everyone's excited. We have teachers that are practicing and all kinds of fun things. So, lots of fun. Other than it was a sad kind of weekend. So, any questions?
Thank you.
All right. The air conditioners were installed on the roof a couple weeks ago. Daikin will be here soon to do the final testing. They actually are running. They told us that they wouldn't be running. And the kids came running in the other office the other day and they're like, we think the air conditioners are on. So they actually are blowing air, but we can't adjust anything. But they'll be here soon to do all the final testing and put the cages up and finish stuff. So that's almost on its way out. The end of the 9 weeks is this week. We kind of talked about that already. My athletic report, something I kind of wanted some feedback on from you guys. We had a nearby school reach out to us. They were possibly going to be hosting a regional for volleyball and would like to use our facilities for that. And I just wasn't sure what our viewpoint on that was. We wouldn't be hosting, obviously it wouldn't take, we wouldn't take them over us. But I guess I just kind of need some guidance in the future. It's actually not going to be happening because they ended up just having a try at their spot, so they don't need our facilities. But just for future reference, maybe we can kind of think about it and let me know kind of some guidance on that. There's a lot of complications with that if we don't have an admin here, because I'll be with our girls in Tribune. Like, what is our thought on that? Do we want to have kind of a contract that they sign, or I don't know. I just feel like we should have some conversation about that if we're having another school. On the other side, we did use our CPL used Hoisington's facilities this weekend to host, and we do every year to host our volleyball tournament. So just something to kind of think about, and we can kind of have a conversation about what that should look like. This is the last week for junior high volleyball, football, and cheer. The volleyball team is playing tonight, and then their last games will be in Bushton on Thursday. And then the volleyball team will play in their A-team league tournament on Saturday. Our high school volleyball played league in Hoisington last week. They changed the format for postseason this year. They added a regional for volleyball, so they'll play all the way in Tribune on Tuesday night. 3-hour drive for them, and then on Saturday they'll play in their sub-state tournament. So they just added that regional. State will again be in Dodge for us.
Ms. Murphy, on that, do they have to win both games in Tribune?
They have to be one of the top 2 out.
So they only have to win one game.
depending on how that works, I mean, if all of them just win one,
Yeah,
then
go
it would,
off.
yeah, I don't know exactly. Probably head to head, and then, I don't know, sometimes it's offensive points allowed, defensive points.
So there's a chance they could play on Saturday, but there's also
Absolutely.
a chance that they might.
Yes. Osborne is the other one going, so they're going 3.5 hours, we're going 3 hours to another time zone. That's fine. Football will play, they're well into their district play. Hopefully, we're really hoping for a playoff game to show off our, brand new fence. State tennis is this weekend in Wichita. We have 2 young ladies who made state, so they will be playing on Friday. Cross country regionals, we drew to be at Lake Barton, so nice and close for them. They've ran that course lots of times, so they're excited about that. We have pink out night scheduled for tomorrow night for volleyball, and then next Friday night for football. Junior high basketball, actually, their first game is a month from today, so no rest for the weary. They'll begin practice on October 29th, so they'll be able to have a week off before they start. And then the first day of practice for the winter sports for high school is November 18th, and that is a KSHA rule. They can't start till that day. My counselor's report, we had an Apply Kansas event on October 7th through the 9th, where the state of Kansas, all the schools that are that have an application cost, offered their application for free for those few days. So we had several students take advantage of that, where they could apply and it didn't cost them. It doesn't seem like very much, but when you're talking about $50 to this school and $30 to this school, and if they're not sure where they want to go, it opens it up and, a little bit more fair for everybody. In addition to that, though, it's just kind of a fun event to get all the kids together and we sit down with them and help them. You'd be amazed at the questions they have on their applications. And so we don't ever want them applying to college to be, they come across those questions, they don't know who to ask. So we let everybody get together. We walk them through applications. That's one event of 3 that we'll do this year to be towards a star school. Another one will be a FAFSA night. And then the other one will be a signing day at the end of the year in May, where they get to sign with their school. So that'll be fun. Our freshmen completed their pre-ACT last week. When we get their score reports, there is a career interest inventory they took. So Mrs. Hamke and I will walk through all of that information with them. That pre-ACT is just kind of a gauge of what number they could get or could expect based on their score for their real ACT. The good thing about that is it has lots of really good data for us. So if they did poorly in one area as a collective class, we can really address that moving forward. I was actually in the English classroom the other day subbing, and the kids were working on their grammar piece and, of course, complaining. And so I said, guys, this is actually super helpful because the ACT as a whole in the state, the English is the lowest. The average score for every other test in the ACT is an 18, and the average for the English is just a 12. So us having those pieces in there already are going to be really helpful for those kids. And after that, they actually kind of started working. I'm sure they didn't as soon as I left, but they at least, and then we've had a couple ask, well, what can I do to get a better score on that? So that's exciting. And then we're continuing to work on some SEL curriculum. So for this report, I actually asked my teachers to put a couple of things that they wanted to share with you at the bottom. So just some FFA things. They're doing Ag in the Classroom. I actually get to take them tomorrow. I'm so excited. They did Johnny Appleseed activity, and then we've had several kids go to competitions. They went to a Green Hand conference. They went to landscape nursery contest, and then land judging. And then that note there on October 3rd, the kids went over and served a banquet in Great Bend, and the hosting agent came and found me and said that the kids just did a phenomenal job. So I was really proud of them for that. Music added some things too. Carly Frost will be playing for junior high district band, and then we have 4 high school students that will be auditioning for the high school district band next week. You guys have any questions for me?
Thank you. audit report.
I'm Kim Bullig. I'm with Adams Brown. I came on site and worked on the audit this year, and been here a couple of years now. So I think we'll start with the bound document that you have. If you want to turn to page 1, this is our audit opinion. We're issuing 2 opinions. The first one is an adverse opinion in accordance with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. The district annually elects to waive that requirement to follow GAAP and go with the regulatory basis of accounting. And on that regulatory basis, we do issue an unmodified opinion, which we consider to be a clean opinion. I'm going to skip to page 4. This is the one financial statement for the district. It is a summary of all of the different funds, your beginning cash, the receipts, expenditures, ending unencumbered cash. And then we add back any accounts payable and encumbrances to come to ending cash. And at the end of the year, you had about $3.4 million. When I look at beginning unencumbered and ending unencumbered, you increased the cash about $900,000. A majority of that was in your capital outlay and in the contingency reserve fund. We were able to make some pretty large transfers into those to increase the balances. Page 5 starts the footnotes. These are going to look very similar to what you've seen in the past. We had no changes to KMAG that we were required to implement this year. So I'll just point out a couple of those. If you want to turn to page 7, a lot of our audit is focused on your cash balances since the district does report on the cash basis. So we do confirm every bank account. We make sure that they are being reconciled monthly and that it is being done timely and accurately. We also check to make sure that all deposits are adequately secured at year end, and we had no issues this year with that. The top of the next page is the transfers that were made during the year. We do make sure that those balance and that they meet the minimum requirements that are set by the state. I'm actually going to skip all the way to the very last footnote, which is long-term debt. And you'll see that on page 12. The district did have one finance lease that was paid off during the year, and there was no other new debt that was incurred. One of the items that is not in the footnotes is a disclosure of any violations of Kansas statutes. We do look at several statutes to make sure that the district is in compliance, and we found no issues. So there is nothing to report there. Okay. Next is the supplemental information required by KMAG. Okay, on page 13 is a budget to actual statement. We do obtain a copy of your budget and any amendments that may have been made to make sure that none of the funds are over the budgeted amount. And of course, you will see they were all under. And then the remaining pages of the report is a summary of each fund, going into detail about the different types of receipts and expenditures, comparing it to prior year, and also comparing to budget if applicable. Any questions on the audit report itself? It's a pretty quick summary for a large report. So. Okay. You also have another document that's just stapled. This is what we call our governance letter, and we are required to give this to the board just to go over what the audit process was and if we had any problems, any issues, any disagreements, and there is nothing to report there. I will point out one paragraph in the middle of the first page about accounting estimates. We had one new audit standard we had to implement this year that required us to take a closer look at any estimates that are built into the financial statements to make sure that they are reasonable and accurately estimated at year end, and we found no issues with those. And then on the very last page, We do have one finding that we consider to be a significant deficiency, and this should not be a surprise to anyone. It is lack of segregation of duties. The district is small and has limited accounting staff, so therefore they cannot adequately segregate every duty among multiple people. So we just like to point that out to make sure the board is aware of it and to make sure you're reviewing your monthly financial data to make sure it seems accurate and asking questions when needed. So that you can help mitigate any risk that lack of segregation of duties can have. Any questions on that report? All right. Well, if you think of something later, or as you are bored and read the entire report, you can always give me a call at any time. Diane has my contact info. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 10.
We have to make a motion to approve that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Our to approve the audit.
I move to approve the 2023-2024 audit report as presented.
Second.
Motion by Allison, second by Josh. Any further questions, comments? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Diane. Okay, now item number 10.
This Friday, October 18th, we do not have students in the district. We have it scheduled as a half a day in-service day and then a half a day work day. We have it planned out to work on some different curriculum items, some curriculum mapping, but also curriculum instruction, working on alignment between buildings and between grade levels. And we've kind of had a rough weekend with a death in one of the districts. And we did grant them the right to use our facility at Wilson for the funeral, and that will be on Friday at 1 o'clock. We do have faculty and staff in all buildings that would like to attend the services. I know they're having kind of a dinner before that at one facility, and then the funeral scheduled at 1 o'clock. So we have that going on, which is going to disrupt our in-service a little bit, especially when we're talking about alignment between buildings. We don't want anybody to feel left out where they don't have input on curriculum or input on the alignment process. We also have state tennis going on. We have some teachers that are and coaches that are going to be leaving for that on Thursday evening or Friday morning. I believe that starts at 10 o'clock in Wichita for the state tennis. So we are a little just uneasy about the way that in-service is going to look on Friday morning. So we do have to have 1,116 hours to meet the accreditation piece for the state of Kansas. Right now, the hours that we have, we are well over 1,200, 1,223. Whenever you talk about those hours, you have regular student day, which is 1 hour for every hour that the kids are in the building. When you're talking about in-service, so it's only part-time. So if we have 4 hours of in-service, we technically only get to add 2 hours to that total. If it's a work day, we don't get to add any hours to the total. It just is a work day for our teachers. If it is parent-teacher conference, though, it is 1-to-1. It's the same as the kids were in the building. So we are quite a bit over those hours. So we kind of talked, the administrators in the district visited today about what we want that to look like, and we really feel like maybe opening that up and not doing an in-service and opening up just as an optional work day. If the teachers want to come in and work, they can, but it also gives them an opportunity to go to the funeral. It also gives the opportunity if they want to go to state tennis, they go to state tennis. And then if we feel like we need to down the line add that in-service day back in, we do have the flexibility with those hours to do that as well. Spent some time over at Wilson today, and they are, it's shaken is probably the best word, which is understandable for what they have been through. So we recommend, my recommendation is to allow that day as an optional work day for our teachers. They are not, if you guys would grant the motion, they would not necessarily have to come in at all on Friday. And again, you're not letting students out because students are already out on Friday.
Yep.
Thoughts from you guys at all on that?
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do.
I would entertain a motion to approve Friday, October 18th as an optional workday to replace the originally scheduled in-service / workday for the staff.
So moved.
Motion by Allison, second by Josh. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. And we do send our condolences to all the family and staff and friends and everybody. Of Grace. Item number 11, KASB policy updates.
So we do have quite a few policy updates that we need to update. The items are attached. If you guys didn't get a chance to read them, I'm just going to briefly hit on each one of them. So if you guys have any questions, we can answer them as we move through. So the first one is the VCBK policy. That's in regards to the terminology that we use to move into executive session under the Kansas Open Meeting Act. And we already do this. This is already something that we do. It's just not something that we have in policy right yet. So the CJ policy is the consultant. The superintendent can contract with consultants, but the superintendent must report this to the Board of Education and provide updates if requested. Then the CL talks about administrative teams and the language appointing, organizing, finding resources, and budgeting to form those administrative teams gives the superintendent the authority to do that. That's the CL policy. The EE policy talks about food service management, and that's in regards to the Board of Education setting meal prices, the sanitation inspections that are with that, also the record keeping and the unpaid meals charges. The ID one deals with instructional program. Any modifications that we wish to make for instructional programs, we have to bring to the Board of Education, and it has to be approved by the Board of Education. IF adds criteria for the board to consider establishing limitations on how often a book can be reviewed for approval. So if you have a book that is not approved, it just gives you guys the right to be able to set some timelines on when people can bring that book to you for approval. The JBE deals with the truancy form. So the truancy form is a form that needs to be filled out between the guardians of the truant student or students and the building administration. The JGFGA talks about opioid antagonists like Narcan that any first responders or nurses can possess, store, distribute any opioid antagonist as long as they are trained properly. That involves training, being able to train staff members that can administer that as well. JH deals with student activities, that the principal is responsible for organizing, approving all student activities. Adding or eliminating any activities may be considered, but that has to be considered by the Board of Education. And then the KK deals with the disposal of district property, and that the board may dispose of district property how they deem fit, except if it is the wanting to dispense of a building. If it's an actual building, there are some different guidelines that we have to go by to dispose of that building. There are a couple other policies that we're going to bring to you guys next month as well that are updated KASB policies for the next board meeting. I know that was a lot, so hope I didn't go too fast.
This is actually the second reading. We already did the first reading last time.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the policies as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Allison,
Second.
and second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. And item number 12, the CPES Site Council.
The members that we have for the proposed Central Plains Elementary School Council are, is Miss Osher over there? I want to make sure I'm not pronouncing any of these wrong.
You want me to name them?
Yeah, can you go ahead?
Yeah. Shaitlin Thomas, Carrie Worth, Amy Metro, Chris Damel, Lauren Kermer, Kayla Johnson, and Kim Ingham.
So per USD 112 Board of Education policy, they must be submitted to our Board of Education for approval.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
Also move.
Second.
Motion by Josh, second by Allison. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. And then the Wilson Elementary School Site Council.
So Ms. Moore, help me out if I say this one wrong, but Michelle Brokish, is that correct? Okay, thank you. Has decided to step down as a member of the site council. So we are recommending Amber Lawrence has agreed to step in her position. So we are recommending Amber Lawrence as the site council member, one of the site council members for Wilson Elementary School.
I move to approve Amber Lawrence as a member of the Wilson Elementary School Site Council for the school year.
Motion by Allison and a second by Kayla. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Item number 14, the donation.
Okay, so we've received a grant from the Russell County Community Foundation for $2,000 and a donation of $300 from the Wilson Community Foundation. They're wishing to put that together to purchase a new interactive smart board for our preschool class at Wilson. If Wilson Elementary School were to close for any reason, they would like that smart board to be donated back to the Wilson City Library. So our recommendation is to accept those under the understanding that if the building was to close for any reasons at all, we would be able to donate that back to the library in Wilson for the usage of the kids in that community.
Move to approve the donation from the Wilson Community Foundation and a grant from the Russell County Community Foundation for the purchase of an interactive smart board for the preschool in Wilson Elementary, but with the understanding that if it was to close for any reason, the smart board would be donated to the Wilson City Library.
Second.
Motion by Kayla and a second by Allison. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Item number 15, Hall of Fame. So we had 2 nominations. Do you want to speak to that, Jeff? We had Patty Hip and Toby Holmes nominated. And neither of them actually had been in our district for 25 years, but both of them definitely did make a large impact while they were here and did have the required signatures for nominations. The nomination for Toby read, I'm honored to nominate Toby Holmes for the USD 112 Hall of Fame in recognition of his exceptional contributions to our school community. Toby served as a counselor for 9 years before transitioning into the role of principal for an impressive 14 years. Throughout his tenure, he consistently stepped into fill various roles as needed, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to the success of our students and staff. And for Mrs. Hip, Patty Hip taught preschool in USD 354 for 4 years and 14 years at USD 112. She provided a very warm and caring environment in her classroom, and her students loved her. Our students were blessed to have such a positive person in their lives to build that foundation they needed to start school. And I have no problem recommending that both of them do be accepted into the USD 112 Hall of Fame because they did both, definitely.
When did these requirements, when were they set? Like the 25 years, how did that get set?
I don't think the 25 is specific to the district, it's
It's
25
not.
years in
That's
education.
Yeah, I was just curious on how when it was set, how it was set.
Mr. Wolf said.
I was gonna say, years ago,
And
yeah.
it was based on what the 328 had, because 354 never had a Hall of Fame. So when we joined together, we just went by what the old 328 district had. So that's what they used, and we just went by that. So
Did Toby and Patty teach before going to the other district? So the total years taught, so you know that?
Oh, yeah, it's over 25.
It is for both of them?
Oh, yeah. But they just didn't have that much here.
Right, I understand that.
Right, yeah.
So do we need to, are you making a motion to approve those then?
Yeah,
Yes.
you were Chad.
I'll make the motion to approve Toby Holmes and Patty Head to the Hall of Fame. I'll second.
Motion by Chad and a second by Josh. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. And usually, we present that during a basketball game.
We'll figure out when it'll be a good time.
Do you guys do like a plaque that has everybody who was nominated or accepted, or you know how you see those things with like name tags or whatever? Do we know everybody that's been inducted to the Hall of Fame over the years?
We have a spreadsheet that keeps track.
But we don't like have it displayed anywhere?
No.
Just the plaques are displayed. The plaques are displayed in Wilson, they should be.
I don't know,
And
I'm
the
In the
asking.
cafeteria.
And the plaques are displayed
Okay.
here.
In the cafeteria on the north wall.
Yeah. But to be a cumulative names is what you're saying, we don't have that.
Okay.
Yeah, which isn't a bad deal.
Do you guys have a preference on the basketball game? Does it need to be the first semester? Not necessarily.
No, we
Okay.
usually do it when
It's
they're.
usually after the first of the year.
Yes, after the first of the year.
Because they'll have the plaques made, so.
Right. And then put their picture on it. And their service.
Item number 16, transportation.
So 16 and 17 kind of go hand in hand. On the transportation, our new transit van is scheduled to be delivered on Wednesday. So we should have our new one here this Wednesday. So that email was just sent today. So we're looking forward for that to be delivered. Kind of gave Jamie kind of a surprise that it's going to be here that quick turnaround. So that was good. So the documents for the transportation rotation, it's exactly the same. The only question that was brought up last time, and I think Josh brought this up, was, is there a percentage that we would like? When we're done with this transportation rotation in 27, 28, is there a percentage to 5 passenger to 10 passenger on what we would like to have? Whenever I asked Jamie about that, she didn't say that there was really a percentage that we wanted to have, just kind of what met our need. But when we were done with this rotation, if this is what we decide to do, if our budget allows us to down the line, 5 passenger cars would be about 33%, and then we would have vans and Suburban, 7 to 10 passengers would make up about the other 67% of our fleet. So that's kind of where we'd be at, but she didn't really say that there was a certain percentage that she would like to be at, just what met our needs,
And that could change anytime.
And it could, right. So understanding this transportation rotation, if this is what we deem to approve, that this is a rotation, and just be if the budget allows us to when that time rolls around. If that time rolls around, the budget does not allow us to, then we will come back and revisit it. So, but yeah, the new transit van is supposed to be delivered on Wednesday. So number 16 and 17 kind of go hand in hand. And I'll wait for 17 until we're done with 16 to see if you guys have any questions on that transportation rotation.
What's our requirements on the buses again? After so many years, we got to get rid of them to do, and so it's nothing. They don't require anything like that on any of the other vehicles. It's just the buses, right?
That's my understanding. Yeah. When we have a little bit of time, I'm going to bring, we're going to go through our mowers as well and bring where we're at with our lawn mowers to this as well. So you guys kind of have an idea where we're at with our lawn mowers rotation as well.
I will motion to approve wrong one.
Number
Here,
16.
yeah. Do we need a motion on that one to approve this? Where's my next?
Yeah, I would like that approved if you guys seem fit, but again, it's.
I will motion to approve the transportation rotation as presented.
Second.
Motion by Kayla and a second by Allison. And I'll just say it's nice to kind of have that long range plan and have it laid out so clearly for us to see too. So I appreciate that. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0.
Please thank Jamie for her work on that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And then item number 17, the surplus equipment.
Okay, so our next recommendation kind of goes with the transportation as well. We are recommending to go ahead and sell the 2012 Dodge Caravan wheelchair accessible. It has 146,000 miles on it. Right now, the van's not usable at the moment. It needs new tires, batteries, body work, and inspections by the Highway Patrol. The one concern that we have is if we do have a student come in that needs the accessibility of a wheelchair vehicle, we don't have that in our staffing right now. So that's one concern that we have. We would have to meet that need. We do have a couple of plans. There's been some districts in the past that have reached out to other districts if they've had that happen, and they've let them borrow transportation. I think we've even done that for some other districts in the past as well. So if that's the direction we decide to go, that's probably what our next plan would be if that happened to come to fruition. As of right now, the hard part is that van's just sitting there depreciating, and pretty soon we're not going to be able to get anything out of it if we let it sit for much longer. So it's my understanding we've had good experience selling those vehicles on Purple Wave, so that would be the avenue that we would recommend at this time.
I move to approve the disposal of the 2012 Dodge Caravan as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Allison and a second by Kayla. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Mr. President, I move that the board go into executive session to pursue to the Kansas Open Meeting Act to discuss non-elected personnel for the topic of substitutes to protect the privacy of individuals, to be discussed and return to open session in this room at 6:55 with Superintendent Murphy to be attendance.
Second.
Motion by Josh, second by Allison. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We are back in open session.
Sorry, I have to scroll. Okay, I move to approve Jessica Kermer as a substitute teacher for Central Plains Elementary and Central Plains Junior Senior High School, and Jesse Habiger as a substitute teacher for Central Plains Elementary School.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Allison and a second by Josh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. President, I move that the board go into executive session to discuss confidential student information pursuant to the exception relating to actions adversely and favorably affecting a student under the KOMA and return to open session in this room at
6:05, or sorry, 7:05.
6:05, 7:05 with Superintendent Murphy in attendance.
Okay, there's a motion by Josh. Second. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion. Any opposed, same sign. We're back in open session. Item number 20, superintendent report.
Okay, so a few items. Maintenance update. We are still waiting on Cruise Corporation to come out and try to change out the capacitor for that fan in the weight room to get it running correctly with the system. Kind of visited about that a little bit in my weekly board notes, but our hope is that it's a capacitor, because if it's not, it's going to be a whole change to that fan to get it to run right. So just a little feedback on that. I'm not an air conditioning guru by any means, but that exhaust fan is not running, kicking out the CO2 in the weight room. It's going to leave the flappers open, which means we're heating and air conditioning the outside if those flaps never shut. So I'll give you guys an update from them as soon as we have one. We're hoping it's this week sometime. We do have our KSDE audit coming up on October 21st, so we're going to be working on that next week. That's going to be coming up here pretty quick. We did have our KISA 2.0 meeting with Amber Miller last week with our district leadership team. Our school improvement day is scheduled for Monday, November 4th in Hayes. We are grouped with two other schools, Ellis and Victoria, that will be talking about our systems back and forth. And then we'll be working with our district leadership team to develop our action plan. And then we'll be bringing that back to you guys at the next board meeting to kind of visit and get your guys' input on what our action plan is. At this time, we talked about those numbers with our minutes per day and our 1,116 hours. We could be asking for you guys for collaboration in service day at some point with that KISA 2.0 to be able to get the whole district together so we are all on the same page, because that accreditation piece, we need to make sure we have buy-in from all of our members of our district. So that's nothing right now, but we could be bringing that information to you guys. We'll definitely have a report on our KISA school improvement day, but that'll be coming down the pipe here pretty quick on November 4th. We did turn in our building principal reports and our superintendent report for our KSDE documentation. It does have our hours on there. I've kind of gone over our hours some. I'm not going to go over that again. One big change, Perkins. So Perkins funds, our Perkins fund, we are in a consortium with ASDEC. So our Perkins funds for our CTE classes, we get a certain amount proportioned to us every year to use for classroom materials in our CTE classes. And we get about $5,000 a year from that Perkins fund. But there's some big changes going on with the Perkins funding component. It's going to be coming down the pipe real quick at us. The consortiums, all the schools are in a consortium that writes all the grants, that divvies up all the money. Basically at ASDEC and Smoky Hills, they have 2 or 3 positions that's just for the Perkins funds. Okay. The kicker is they're not making enough money off the Perkins funds to be able for those consortiums to stay in place. So Smoky Hills, Southwest Plains Regional Service Center, ASDEC, they are dissolving the consortiums. So that creates a big problem, because you can only be a standalone district if your portion of those Perkins funds is $15,000 or over. That means you write your own grant, you divvy up your own money, you figure out how you want to run that part of it. But for smaller schools, it becomes harder because we don't have enough kids. We don't have $15,000 that we get for our portion of the Perkins funds. So they're trying to get us to move together and form our own group with other schools so we can add our funds together to get to that $15,000 mark. Okay. The kicker is we still are going to have to hire somebody, if that's what we do, to write all the grants, to make sure all the funding pieces are right, to make sure that we're staying up to deadlines on all of the federal compartments for that grant. What is that going to cost us? I don't know. It might be over the $5,000 that we're already going to get in the Perkins funds the way it is. So we're going to be having some conversations about that, and that's going to be coming down the pipe pretty quick, because they're planning on dissolving those consortiums this year before December. So we're really going to be talking with our CTE compartments. I think Ms. Murphy's already had that conversation with some of them as well on what that's going to look like. Talking to some other districts, if we decide to join them and form our own consortium, our one fear is that having to pay the people to write those grants is going to be more than what we're going to get in return for it. One item that we did talk about is we do get FTEs broken down for full-time enrollment based off of our CTE numbers. That helps create some funding pieces. If we did not want to join the Perkins Consortium of the other schools and we wanted to do something completely different than that, we could try to allocate every year a certain amount of those FTEs that's created by the CTEs programs to certain classroom items that they need. But then the question goes, well, what happens to our allocation of that $5,000? It goes away and it's probably going to be reproportioned to bigger schools.
I had one
Yes.
really quick
Yep.
thing. I just talked to the lady at ASDAC the other day, and she said she would really caution schools if they do form their own consortiums to be cautious what they purchase with that money. We would like to probably purchase equipment, right? Like that's what we want to purchase for our programs. And she said if we do anything with equipment, then we have a whole bunch more paperwork that has to be done, and anything that is produced, we have to prove the cost of if we make any money, and it sounded like a huge hurdle if we do end up going with a consortium, and it just sounds like it's going to be more than what we can.
So I guess what I'm
off,
asking is, guys, if it does look like it's going to cost more to hire somebody to do those grants than the $5,000 that we're going to get, what are your thoughts on that? It doesn't seem like it's going to be very cost effective for us if we're going to have to pay somebody $7,000 each school and we only get $5,000 back from Perkins. The part that really irks me is that money's going to be turned around and sent to the bigger schools that have $15,000 or more.
So it doesn't make sense to pay more than what you bring in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Did they ever figure out what is going to happen with our equipment that
Yes.
we bought with?
So if the consortium dissolves, really the consortium is the one that owns the equipment. So the equipment that they purchased in the past, they own it because it was bought with federal funds. So there's been some different conversations out there. What happens to those items? And I think one of us, we bought a laser engraver just a couple years ago. It's not very old. ASDEC's telling us right now, though, that they have approved a form that we're going to fill out with them that's going to turn that ownership over to us. So that's the good news, because in the past, one thing that we did hear was that all those items that were over $5,000 were going to go back. They were going to give them an estimate on what they were going to cost, and they were going to have to turn around and resell them. So, but that is not my understanding now from what I'm hearing from ASDEC, which is who our consortium is. They're saying that we have some documentation, some paperwork, that's just going to turn over to us. And we'll bring you guys a little more information on that at this next board meeting on what that's going to look like. So. Resource officer discussion. So I did have a board member reach out to me and talk about some different items that would maybe lend towards maybe down the line us looking at a resource officer. We did meet with our chief of police here in Claflin and also our mayor and kind of discussed just some safety protocols, and we've done that in some of our other buildings as well. I know at Sublette, one thing that we were fortunate enough 3 years ago was we were fortunate enough to get a grant, and it hasn't been reissued. I'm hearing some information that some of these grants that would fall under the resource officer line might be reissued with all the safety concerns coming up after the first of the year. But that grant was a matching grant, okay? So I don't remember what his salary, let's just say it was $50,000. So we had to match that with $25,000, and they matched it with the other one. But we were able to work with the sheriff's department in Sublette, where that officer worked through the sheriff's department. He went on calls. He worked for them when he was not working in the school, and they paid half of the $25,000 for 3 years. So for 3 years, we had a resource officer in all of our schools, and we only had, $12,000, $13,000 to pay. And then after those 3 years, we saw the benefit of having that resource officer in our district, working with our kids, knowing our kids, helping our kids, and helping our faculty and staff. And then we made the decision to go ahead and keep that person on full time and still split the cost with the sheriff's department. So I just ask if that was to come out next year, if like Claflin would be interested in that, and they said they definitely would be interested in it if it kind of came out that direction. So again, don't know if that grant's going to come out, be worded that way. Our hopes is there would be something. The one question I did ask them is how would it work with that resource officer? You know, we have different counties, different schools. How would that work? And they said they would just sign an agreement with that city and that county that if that you know worker was working in that school, that they would have some of that same authority if they were working in the Wilson school as opposed to being here in Claflin. So just some discussions on that I wanted to make you guys aware of. And again, that was just from one board member. Is that something you guys are interested in keeping our eye on? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Another item that was brought to me by some community members was the transportation up at Wilson. I think it might be beneficial maybe during parent-teacher conferences to issue that survey again that we issued. And I don't know how long ago it was. But just to put the information out there to see if there are any families up there at all that need any type of transportation to school buildings. And right now we do pay the ones that are outside the city limits to bring their kids in. I just want to make sure if there's any kids out there that's the hiccup why they're not coming to one of our schools, that we try to do something to be able to get them in our communities, in our schools. So I think that might be something that would be beneficial maybe during parent-teacher conference to put that out there again and kind of see where our community is up north with the transportation piece. So we did talk a little bit about maybe adding some additional secretary help in the future. You know, with our growing population in the elementary school and here at the high school, we do see that there could be a need for that secretary side of it. The part that really concerns me is I don't really like adding contracts in the middle of the year, especially when we have our budget set and that we're trying to stick to. So that's a concern. So one thing we might look at is looking at seeing with the secretaries that we have in the district, if there's an option of maybe moving them around some to try to help out the rest of this year until we can get past this year and kind of make a decision on what that looks like. So we'll have some conversations and I'll report back to you guys at the next board meeting on what that looks like. So. We talked about the new transit van coming in. We have the KASB conference coming up here pretty quick. Just my schedule kind of for the rest of the week. Wednesday, I'm going up to have coffee at the Wilson Coffee House with some community members and meeting with some community members Wednesday evening, I think up at the Legion in Wilson. I've been going over to Bushton on Thursday mornings and having coffee with some of those guys over there. That's kind of grown on Thursdays. There's more people coming down there, so I want to make sure at our other communities that I'm trying to make it around. I've been to Holyrood a couple times to eat lunch at
The Legion?
Yes, the Legion. Thank you for that. But going to try to make it where kind of a weekly thing if I'm able to make it up there and just kind of meet with some of them. You find a lot of interesting things about the communities when you sit down and have some of those conversations with people that have been there for a while. So I've enjoyed that. So the only other item I have is league update. I made you guys aware of this. They are talking about making a league basketball tournament for our high school kids starting next year, since they moved that count up from 20 games to 23 games. I know in the HPL league, that league basketball tournament brought in like 80% of the funds for the league just off of the basketball tournament. So I think that could be something really big for our league if they were able to get that rolling. So that was a lot. Sorry, guys. Questions? Okay.
I did have someone here at the community center, one of the seniors, that said that they appreciated you coming and talking to them at their senior morning, and were impressed with your energy. So they liked seeing you out and about. And
that's probably because all the cups of coffee I drank with them.
Well, they made the comment that several of them are retired from working in the district, so it's nice for them to still feel connected to the district. So. Okay, item number 21, board member reports. Anybody? Anything?
next month we'll have the KS convention there.
Okay, item number 22, open agenda items. Items for next month's agenda.
We'll have some personnel maybe on there, and then we'll have the FFA kids come in and give a report on national convention, and then we'll also spend some time going over that KISA 2.0 information from our site school improvement day with the other two schools.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So much.
Motion by Allison,
Second.
second by Josh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So